Good afternoon, or still morning time. Good morning, Melissa. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am great. So this week we had a couple of big meetings at the Feds. So let's quickly jump into how it affected mortgage rates and, well, first of all, what they talked about and how it affect what you're seeing on the mortgage rate side.
Yeah. So they had their meeting, they increased rates by a quarter percentage point, and then that was expected. What everybody was waiting for was the commentary after. And that's what moves the market, just because there was a 95% chance that they were going to raise the rates. And so it was already baked in. Now, afterwards, mostly thanks to the very good consumer sentiment numbers. So people feel good about the economy, even though if you watch the news, they would say they don't. But they actually
Watching the news.
stop. It's just not helpful. So because people feel good about the economy, that means they tend to spend more money. And when they spend more money, it potentially pushes up the prices of goods and services and causes inflation to go up, not down, which is what they want. So because of that, the commentary was pretty negative about needing another increase, another one or two increases. So that was not good. The market reacted very negatively. Like yesterday, rates were back over 7. We're moving back in a positive direction today, and that's because we got news about the PCE number and the core inflation number. Both of those came in along the lines of what was expected, but a little bit better. So that is good news. It just shows that everything's trending in the right direction, and we're getting much, much, much closer to 2%. The core number is still in the 4s, the PCE numbers in the low 3s at this point. I think it's 3.1, and down from 7 last year. So we've made so much progress, but we're not at 2 yet. And until we're at 2, the Federal Reserve is going to be very pessimistic. And one other thing that goes into that PCE number that does tell us that these numbers are going to continue trending down is that the housing component of it is a lagging indicator. When you look at it over an annualized rate, it is trending down. So that tells us a big chunk of that number is trending down. And in the months that are coming ahead of us, we're like almost 100% guaranteed to see that number keep going down.
What does that mean?
So it means that the way the housing expense numbers are reported, it's reported in arrears. And so what's being reported is several months old. Now, there are other reports and measures that are taken that are more recent. They're just not used for those numbers. And looking at those, you can see that the trend is down, and it is going to continue to impact those inflation numbers in a positive direction.
And what would be a housing spending expense? Is that
So
like
rent?
okay?
Yeah, and there's actually a funny measure in there about like if you own your house and you had to rent it, what would you pay for it? It's like some silly number, but it's the number we use, and it's trends in line with what rent's doing and what mortgage payments are doing. So
basically what you're saying is that rent prices are coming down. Is that right?
a little bit, yes. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good.
And
Okay.
then it also takes into account short-term housing. So hotels, for example, those are coming down. That's a good thing.
Okay. Got it. Okay. And then the consumer, what's the word you use that they're,
So the other number that I think is interesting is the savings number.
oh, yes. Yes. Okay.
So yeah, so savings went down again. So from about 4.4 to 4.1.
And explain what that means.
That means that people are using more of their savings to live and to continue spending. And at a certain point, that's going to get really scary for consumers. Not having a safety net of any type is terrifying for most people. And I think that when that number gets low enough to impact people and they see it, they can't ignore it anymore, I think that's going to slow down spending, and that's going to also slow down It's going to slow, it's going to put a damper on consumer sentiment, I think. Because if people have less money saved, they're not going to feel as confident. And that will make the Federal Reserve happy. The only thing we
Now,
need now is more people not having jobs, and then they'll be even happier.
a couple of weeks ago or a couple of episodes ago, you talked a little bit about people using their credit cards more to live off of. What is that? How is that going?
That is not improving. Credit card balances are still at an basically all-time high.
Okay, so people are living off their savings and living off credit cards, but and that's because prices are so high, right? We came out of a crazy, couple of years with COVID, and people weren't working, and I mean, but now more people are working than I think we have the highest employment rate we've seen in decades.
30 or 50 years, yeah, a very,
Yeah.
very long time. And we still
Yeah.
have a ton of jobs that are open and
Yeah.
unfilled.
Mhm. So if me looking in, I'm like, oh my God, we have a great economy. Our stock market's doing well, this one lingering thing is the potential recession that it looks like it's not going to happen, hopefully.
Hopefully not, yeah.
Based on the cost of goods, basically, is what it really sounds like.
Yeah. And I think, I'm trying to think what would cause a recession at this point. And with there being so many open and available jobs that need to be filled, it's not like if somebody loses a job, they can't go get another one. Maybe it's not for the same pay, and then obviously there's disruption, and that's not good. But it doesn't seem like there's anything heading at us like a credit crunch. I mean, the only thing that I keep hearing about is commercial real estate. Now, that segment does seem to be challenged because a lot of us don't work in offices. I'm in my office today, but it's me and one other person in a very large office.
Yeah.
We don't need this much space. So when our renewal is up, we are not going to be renewing. And that is the one thing that on the horizon I see as a big headwind. That's going to cause some pain to the economy and some disruption, but I don't think that's a big enough portion of the economy to really cause a big recession.
And like here in the Dallas area, we have 7 million people living in Dallas Fort Worth, and by 2030 we're expected to be over 10 million. So I'm hearing what they're going to do with the office spaces that are no longer used is convert them into apartments and condos, and reusing that space. So it's not a end of the world thing, because our commercial buildings are sitting right now because they are we
Well,
have
it's an interesting mix because in our building, like our parking lot's very often full. So there are some jobs where people definitely do come into the office. And I think maybe in Dallas, there may be more of those jobs. But for what I do, I don't have to be here every day.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are going back into the office because they realize working from home. Yeah, it's great, but long term, it affects so many different your mental state, your physical state. It affects so many different other things negatively that people are like, okay, yeah, come back to the office so you have social, you get up and walk around, you can, collaborate collectively,
No, I think that's very, very valuable. And yeah, you're not at the mercy of your elderly dog.
Right. Or your puppy dog down here. Yeah, that needs to be in my face all the time. Okay, well, this is good news. I know that, it's not good news that we may have another Fed fund rate hike, probably 0.25%. I think that's September, right? September, then.
Yes, I should know that answer, but I don't know if it's August or September.
Okay. Well, a couple months, a month or so down the road, we'll know if we're gonna have that again. And most likely, since they're talking about it, most likely my guess is that they'll do it again. Just try to keep things moving the right way. In their eyes. In my eyes, things look great, but I'm not a financial expert at all.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, whatever. So, okay, well, thank you so much, Melissa. And I'll look forward to chatting with you next week. Maybe we'll have some good news on interest rates.
Wouldn't that be nice? Can we get back to 6.875?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about that. I want to get back down to the 5s and 4s, but you know, we'll see how that goes.
No, one last thing before we sign off, though. When we get back to the 5s, multiple offers are going to be through, like, buy now, and
Oh,
refinance.
good point.
please.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a competitive market out here right now because we don't have a lot. I think we have less inventory than we've ever had before right now. So if you're looking to sell right now, might be the perfect time for you to sell too, because there are buyers out here for sure that are willing to pay
Yeah.
you and still willing to pay the good price. We are, I think, 0.2% lower in value of homes than we were this time last year at the all-time high.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so we're still highly valued here. The appreciation is great, and yeah, you're still gonna get great money out of your home, out of the equity.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
or refinance, and you can do something to your home, pay off some bills, you know, contact Melissa to get that done.
True.
Yeah.
That is also an option.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You as well. Bye-bye.